What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. It is the 7th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $0.0028 as it is right now. We have 4 hours and 48 minutes left in this day, 4 hours, 48 minutes left in the week as well. We're on the weekly time frame here, and it's looking like we're going to close the week, somewhere around here, probably. Right? We're down 3.4%. We have 4 hours, roughly 5 hours left in the day. We certainly could come back up by the end of the day and close this week green, but something in this area. It's very important to keep in mind that while we are awaiting this forever seeming process of waiting for this breakout, this next area to happen, it is completely possible that you do see lower prices. We can go lower. I doubt we go below these lows, but even if we do, we're at the low ends of this range altogether, right? At prior areas of resistance here, prior areas of resistance here, prior areas of support here, we will likely break out of this to the upside with a very high statistical probability of breaking out to the upside. So don't let any kind of downside price action that may or may not occur over the next couple of days, don't let that affect you negatively, okay? The only reason I say that is because we're opening up a new week. Typically, if I'm expecting a week to be green, typically by default, my superstition is then that we'll open up the week red, right? If I'm expecting a week that's 20% growth, 200% growth, likely that first day, that Monday, we see a little bit of red. Because typically, most of these candles that are green, they have some kind of a wick below them. This one didn't. Right? But even this big one here, you went down a little bit on Monday. I'm just saying we could go down a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad week. If we're looking at this on the short term stuff, let's look at the 1 hour time frame here. It's always once we hit the 1 hour that I swap to the buy bit. You could watch any of my Zebec videos. It always goes back to that. A lot of volume down here. I shouldn't say a lot, but more. You could tell that there was a gap in volume, and then we had some consistent volume. We had a little spike right there, and this was on the breakout, but the breakout did not progress. You broke out, but there was no break. The breakout didn't break. And in fact, you broke the breakout. You, without having too much fun with my words here, you pulled back. It's more of a fake out, really. And we saw this fake out happen with XRP. We saw this fake out happen with Bitcoin and various other cryptos too. Really, it seems as though you have a double bottom. Really, it's as though you have a higher low. It's as if you're rounding out this area here. I think that you're going to go up. Now, keep in mind, just because it looks like we're rounding this out here, this is not a rounded bottom. Rounded bottoms aren't something you identify on a 1 hour pattern. That's not how it works. Those are takes months and years to have a proper rounded bottom. But still, there is some rounding of the price action here. We do have a double bottom here between this low, and a double bottom, relatively speaking, here between these 2 points. We tried to push lower. That's what that volume was. We broke out. We tried to push lower, but we couldn't. We actually had a slightly higher low because of that. The RSI is neutral, but I would say in a more bullish posturing than a bearish posturing, but neutral. Lower highs here, you might find some turbulence. Stochastics at the overbought zone might find some turbulence. The MACD is kind of bullish. Overall, I'm getting neutral yet bullishly implied vibes here, but with that, we could see slightly lower prices. We could go below all these levels here and then still come back up. So don't be under any kind of duress if we do go lower. I like the 1 hour time frame, but I am seeing from here at 0028, I am seeing signs that we might pull back a little bit, and therefore perhaps we find a higher low, perhaps we find a lower low. Time will tell. I suppose at this moment, I would think that we find a higher low, not a lower low, but anything can happen. Low to high here, let's just see. Low to high. If we were to go lower, let's say we did break this zone, it wouldn't be totally abnormal to find support in your golden ratio zone, the 618 area. 0.0026, 0.0025, something in this zone. Yeah. Something in that zone right there. That's what I would expect if we were to go lower. At the moment, again, not to make things confusing. I know I can be confusing. I think we are at a low point. I think we will recover. I'm anticipating something more of a W shape here. But in the event that I'm wrong, we will still get to these prices, but it'll just come from a lower point of support instead. If I'm wrong, and instead of moving up from here, we move down, we will just move up later, right? The same results will happen just from a lower price. So just patience, and a little bit of maybe not caring about the price going down is all it would take if that happens. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here, the RSI to me does seem bullish. The fact that you reached for your oversold zone but couldn't get it. The fact that, dating really back all the way to here, we kind of have this higher low trend going on. Yes, this was a lower low, but other than that one blemish, we've got these higher lows building here. If you don't like that, we could say there's higher lows building here, whatever you want to say. Finding support right in this area. I like it. I like it. I think the RSI it's neutral, but there are some bullish things going on right now. More bullish than bearish at this moment. Stochastics are definitely bullish. Would promote the idea that we continue. This definitely does suggest that we do not go lower from here. We absolutely do not, but that we actually go higher from here instead. And then the MACD with the fresh green cross. Overall, it is bearish, but we did reject the 0 here, so this might give us the hopes that on this next attempt we actually break through the 0. We don't reject it, and in which case we should see a move that takes us above here and back up to this 0036 to maybe even 004 area. Okay, now the fun starts, because if we're talking about moving up, we look at the daily time frame, we take the high to the low, right off the 236, it's perfect. We've seen this, you guys, across various cryptos throughout this bull run. Not just this month, not just this week, but throughout the last like 3 years. At least 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that we've been in a bull run. We've seen this happen where we go from the 0.5 down to the 236 and then right up to the golden ratio. Sometimes even blasting through the golden ratio up to your 786, 886 zone. What I'm getting at here, again, it's the fun part, is that the most likely outcome from where we are here is that probably within the next week or two at the most, one at the least, we see something of a 43% to a 90% growth. And as far as what's the probability for any of this, I don't know, man. It's just as probable, in my opinion, that we could stop here, that we could stop here. There will be signs here that we're ready to continue. There will be signs here that we're ready to stop. Whatever the case may be, we'll be able to identify it, hopefully, at that point in time. But for the moment, let's just focus on the golden ratio. Let's focus on this 40 to 45% pump, and then we can maybe get jacked for this 70 to 80% pump up here, 90% pump, whatever it is. Something between 004, let's just say 0041 to 0054, something in that range. And we'll start with the golden ratio. I'm not saying that we're starting here because this is what I expect. I don't expect that we'll break through here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we'll start here, and once we're up here, we'll see how it goes. Maybe, if you're lucky, you won't even have a moment to consider the prices while we're up here, because we'll just blast right through, and before you know it, we're all the way back around 005, but time will tell. One thing's for certain, I assume to be certain, one thing I'm very confident in is that we do move up from here. I would very much think that we take out this high, we take out this high, we're probably going to take out this high. As far as taking out these highs go or taking out that high goes, remains to be seen, but we will definitely make some progress here, I think, over the next 5 to 10 days, really. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you guys like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I wouldn't call this... I mean, there is bullish divergence going on with the MACD, but I wouldn't call this part bullish divergence. However, a false red cross when you're trending up, this is actually a really good time to bounce on the daily MACD. Perfect area to bounce on the stochastics. Bouncing right off the 40 on the RSI. All good things. All areas of support. I can't wait to see what comes next. I really do think that you've got some miraculous stuff in store. Once we are above, I mean, I would say maybe this weekly close. Once we're above about 0053, 005 itself, once we're up in this area, all we're thinking about is 3 cents to 4.5 cents. 3 cents to 4.5 cents, because that's where our 2272-2618 target area is right here. 2272-2618 right there. So that's the area. And that should happen, I would think, sometime in Q1, probably the first half of Q1, not the second half. That'd be my guess. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.